The weekend is almost here, and that means it is almost time for more MLS action. Jonah, Freedman here with Nick Rosano. Nick, it's time for last call. Let's start counting down the top storylines heading into the weekend. Start with number 5, Montreal hosting the New York Red Bulls.
Yeah, and this should be a pretty good one. Montreal much improved since they got thrashed 5-2 by the Red Bulls back at Red Bull Arena in March. They've only conceded 2 goals in their last 4 league games and looked pretty solid against the Galaxy. Red Bulls, on the other hand, defensive addition with Heath Pierce. Definitely one that will make them a little sturdier in the back, though, again, they've also been pretty good even without many of their first choice defenders. So it should be a close one over at Olympic Stadium.
You can catch that one on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on MLS Live.
And next up, we have the New England Revolution hosting the Houston Dynamo.
Yeah, and two teams who obviously know each other very well. They met twice in a row, 2 years in a row in MLS Cup in 06 and 07. But now, they're both in the Eastern Conference, and right now they're both taking up that number 5 coveted spot for the final playoff spot out of the East. So this is going to be a very good battle between two teams who really need a result here. Houston heading back out on the road after a 2-game homestand. And finally, we'll have to see how their road form is going to hold up. New England coming off a huge thrashing of Vancouver last weekend, but they've had some real trouble trying to stay consistent this season. They've only won back-to-back games once this season, and also they are notoriously not great at handling set pieces, and we all know that's Houston's calling card. It's going to be a little tough for New England. They're going to be without Clyde Sims, one of their big bodies who could help out in that situation, but this is going to be a good one. It's going to be a battle for positioning in that Eastern Conference.
You can catch that one on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on MLS Live.
Number 3, a rematch from a game a couple of weeks ago, but this time it's at RFK Stadium. DC United hosting still winless Toronto FC.
And you got to think DC's licking their chops at this one, especially with Toronto FC focused on the Canadian Championship second leg at home in midweek. And DC's attack is still clicking, this time with some different people. Branko Boskovic looking pretty good in the midweek win over Colorado Rapids. Hamdi Salihi starting to find his form. And then, of course, you have De Rosario once again up against his former club. So DC fans, get excited for this one.
Big names finally coming through in DC. That is on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. It's on TSN2 in Canada, MLS Live in the U.S.
At number 2, we've got the first edition of the Cascadia Cup as Vancouver hosts Seattle.
Yeah, and the Seattle faithful are definitely going to get up there for this one. This is always an exciting match. As you said earlier about Toronto, same with Vancouver. They are chasing that Canadian Championship, so they've been rotating guys in and out of that lineup, but they are all healthy, and they will be up for this one. Seattle, we are possibly going to see the first choice attacking 4 in this one between Mauro Rosales, Alvaro Fernandez, Eddie Johnson, and Freddie Montero all at one time. We've been waiting for it. All the fans have been waiting for it. Vancouver might not be too excited about it, but also they've got a guy by the name of Eric Hasley who has just been lighting it up. He's got 4 goals in his last 5 games in all competitions. He seems to get up for these Seattle games too. You remember that Goal of the Year nominee last year where he just volleyed it from out of nowhere at CenturyLink, and he did the same thing against Toronto in midweek in Canadian Championship. I can't wait for this one. First Cascadia match of the year.
And you can catch that one Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern on TSN and RDS2 in Canada and MLS Live in the U.S.
Number 1, it's the 26th regular season edition of the LA SuperClasico, and it's a remade Chivas USA hosting the LA Galaxy.
Yeah, SuperClasico going to be a little more super with 2 additions to Chivas USA's roster, Danny Califf and Juan Agudelo. Reporters asked Robin Fraser if they're going to play, and he said possibly with a grin. So very likely that they could play. Both teams getting results on the road last weekend. Jose Eric Correa opened his MLS account against the San Jose Earthquakes, even though they could not hold on to the win. And on the LA side, could be the last game for Robbie Keane and Landon Donovan, both of whom are going away for national team duty, so they'll want to leave a mark on this one.
It's going to be a good one. Chivas USA couldn't pick a better time to get a result here. The last time they beat the LA Galaxy in this series, it was August of 2007, so it seems like now might be a good time to get it. It's going to be Saturday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2, live chat on MLSsoccer.com. That'll do it for us. Don't forget, on Sunday, Jurgen Klinsmann expected to announce the final 13 names that are getting invited into U.S. national team camp ahead of these final 3 friendlies and the kickoff of 2014 World Cup qualifying. Make sure you check the site all weekend for reactions and recaps from all this action, as well as those names that are called up by Klinsmann. We'll see you next week.